Imagine getting a letter that is just overflowing with joy and gratitude. Now, imagine the person who wrote it is sitting in a prison cell, facing a future that's completely uncertain. That right there is the paradox at the very heart of the New Testament's Book of Philippians. And today, we're going to unlock its secrets. So how in the world do we make sense of this? Well, we're going to start by looking at the letter's pretty shocking origin story. Then, we'll dive right into that central paradox of joy, explore the practical blueprint for finding it, uncover a really powerful secret to contentment, and finally, see what this ancient message means for us, right here, right now.
Okay, first things first, we have to understand the setting, because to really get the power of this letter, you have to know where it came from. And trust me, it's a story that completely flips everything we think we know about strength and hope on its head.
See, this isn't some dense theological textbook or a dry history lesson. The Book of Philippians is, before anything else, a deeply personal letter. It was written by the Apostle Paul to a church community in Philippi that he just clearly loved and felt this incredibly strong connection with. And here's where the context gets really powerful. Paul isn't writing this from some comfortable study with a nice cup of tea. No, he is in prison. But here's the kicker. His purpose isn't to complain or ask for pity. Instead, he's writing to thank the Philippians for their support and, incredibly, to encourage them. And this brings us to the central puzzle of the entire letter. How can a man in chains, facing who knows what kind of suffering and uncertainty, keep coming back to one single theme over and over again? Joy. It seems impossible, right?
So, how does the book solve this incredible paradox? Well, it introduces a kind of joy that operates on a completely different frequency from the happiness that most of us chase in our day-to-day lives.
The letter basically draws a critical line in the sand. On one side, you've got happiness, which is based on happenings. The good stuff going on around us. It comes and goes, and it's totally dependent on your circumstances. But on the other side is joy. And Paul argues this joy is rooted in faith, it's unconditional, and it lasts no matter what is happening on the outside.
Now, the key thing to get here is that this kind of joy isn't about slapping on a fake smile and just pretending your problems don't exist. Not at all. It's about tapping into a source of strength that runs way deeper than any problem. It's an active choice to find joy in the middle of a hardship, not just sitting around waiting for it to be over. Okay, so if this unshakable joy is the goal, what's the roadmap to get there? Paul doesn't just leave it as some nice abstract idea, he actually lays out a practical blueprint for how to live this way.
It all really boils down to imitating the humility of Christ. So, step 1 is to adopt a selfless mindset, basically putting other people's needs before your own. That naturally leads to step 2, serving others through genuine love and action. And when a whole community does this, the result is step 3, this powerful, unifying sense of purpose.
This whole idea just brilliantly illustrates the huge shift in perspective that he's talking about. It's all about turning away from finding your identity and your purpose in your own achievements or your status, and instead finding it in a shared faith and in a mission that's way bigger than yourself.
And this mindset of humility and service, well, that's what unlocks one of the book's most famous and powerful ideas, what Paul himself calls a secret to finding contentment no matter what life decides to throw at you. And here it is, that secret, captured in one of the most well-known verses in the entire letter. Paul says that he has learned to be content in any situation, rich or poor, because his strength isn't something he generates himself, it comes from a divine source.
Let's be really clear about what this contentment means. It's not about being passive or just giving up. No. It's an active state of satisfaction that is completely detached from your external circumstances. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, healthy or sick. It's this profound inner stability. So, how does this all come together in the end? What's the final takeaway here? Paul doesn't end with just theory. He closes with a really clear call to action, urging the Philippians to live in a way that shows the power of what they believe. He's basically telling them to be a positive force, to shine like stars in the world around them. He calls them to work together, to show unshakable faith when things get tough, and to always, always anchor their identity in their relationship with Christ. It's a complete vision for a life that really, truly makes a difference. And so, this 2,000-year-old letter from a prison cell leaves us with a question that feels more relevant today than ever. What if true strength, what if real joy and contentment aren't found by trying to fix and change all of our circumstances, but by fundamentally changing our perspective?